This is the FPV footage from the crash a couple of days ago. Wider field of view than the cinematic camera. Shows you what happened. Turns out I did some damage after all. In the background I've got my shredded attempt at my first go at a windsock. It got caught up in pole and wire and shredded. So following on from the crash yesterday, the only damage was the 2.4 gigahertz control antenna. It just sheared off. So I did a bit of reading about it and thought, okay, I can understand how it goes. I've got a bit of spare coaxial. How hard can it be? I'll try putting something on. And then I went away and read up Bruce Simpson, XJet, and also Joshua Bardwell, and a few other people, and started to realise there's all sorts of variables with antennas. So I came up with another solution. So as you can see, I've taken the FPV camera out of trusty Bugs B3. Where's the thing? There it is. And put it in the hanger for a bit. And pulled out a couple of others. So here's the red one. And all I've done to avoid this problem happening in the first place is instead of leaving this hanging down loose the way I tend to, or against the body the way it's designed to, I'll put it out on the arm the way a lot of FPV people do, and just sort of put it on with cable ties. I'll trim them off in a moment. And the same thing with my hybrid, the Bugs 3 innards on a Bug 6 frame. I've taken the antenna and strapped it to the arm. Well, that's not relevant. What I've done here for the moment, I'm using an FPV camera from a little tiny whoop that's quite good quality from Bold Clash, and it allows me to separate the camera from the transmitter board. So given its low profile compared to a Bugs 3, I needed to not having a bulbous forehead to hide things in, and I found out if you have a clover leaf sticking up with a Bug 6 you tend to get it chopped off. So this is a good temporary solution. I've got a TX02 board coming and a separate camera coming, so when that comes that'll be my next build. But just realising there's no problem that if you realise it's a bit complex you can possibly avoid doing anything about it for a bit. So I'll do some more reading up on antennas, 2.4 gigahertz antennas, and eventually I'll solder something the appropriate width, resistance and impedance and all the rest of it to repair the bugs. But meanwhile, being lucky enough to have a few of these things, I'll just give this guy here a well-earned rest. So here we go, a simple, non-technical, low-cost, low-complexity solution to a problem. And to finish up, here's B1 that I've put the camera in, and again I've just wired the antenna to the leg. This time I've chopped off the cable ties, but just as I was having a look at it, I suddenly realised I put one of the cable ties over here where I can't take the lid off, so that's going to need a little bit of adjustment. Which I've done one-handed on camera. And while I was moving the camera around, I quite like this soft foamy stuff to mount them on. I've just moved the camera a little bit forward because I realised before it's good to protect it, but if it's too far back in it, you get part of the housing in the video feed, which is not what you want. So this is the one I'll be flying again, but I'll put another cable tie on further back to hold that there. And another thing I've learned with my recent non-technical exposure to antenna theory is that one of the wonderful things with plastic frames, apart from being inexpensive and simple, not needing lots of screws to assemble, is that they don't block radio waves the way carbon fibre does. So yeah. And that's why at less than $10 a shot. I've got myself another two Bug 6 frames, and as I eventually manage to crack my various Bugs 3 frames, I'll be ready to migrate the innards across to, oh no, this one's clean. One of the reasons I'm using B1 is I put a whole new frame on this one after actually breaking an arm off. So no cracks on this one yet. But more seriously, if it's nice and calm, I think I prefer the wingspan of the Bugs 3. It makes for a more stable platform. But I think the Bug 6 frame has got a good place halfway between the EX2 or the Bugs 3 Mini and the full-size Bug 3 in terms of being a bit more agile to get into places. But with a bit more weight and a slightly bigger wingspan than the EX2, this should work well as a camera drone as well. So, all good fun on a budget. Happy flying. Windsock Mark II. This time I've got a wide trace on it, a couple of swivels on the head and a pole over the main pole for swivel. I've seen a real one with a wind vane.